you and I are going to do a rewatchables, right? In a couple of weeks for the Omega Okada match.
Yeah, I guess as we set up for the one coming up in Texas, we're going to do something to remind us of what has been.
Did you happen to watch the video package that they did last night in anticipation for the new match?
No.
I will tell you, Steven, the video package is something that I think you would tremendously like. I think the angle that they did in the show is not really up your alley. They went with Don Callis as the
Kenny biting the water balloon of blood there, and
I think the capsule might have been like one bridge too far to the destination. It's quite possible, but I think that the video package is something that you will really, really like. That part of it is something that they can't make new stuff out of old footage.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, look, we had the matches were at Wrestle Kingdom, the 47 minute all-time classic with Okada and Kenny. That's the one we're going to be looking at, I believe. Then they did the 1 hour draw, which was almost as good. And then they did the more than 1 hour, 2 out of 3 falls match, which was pretty blow away. And that was Kenny finally getting the victory there. So all 3 of those are matches that defined that era in New Japan, helped to define that era. So we're going to be taking a look at the Wrestle Kingdom match, the very first one, that 47-minute one. At the time, was considered one of the best matches that we'd seen, one of the best New Japan matches of all time, and would still be on a pretty short list of those, I would say.
They're pretty much all timers. They
had tremendous chemistry together for sure. I don't know I have no idea what we're going to get in Texas. I don't know.
Those matches are so good and so legendary that an entirely different wrestling promotion making way more money than New Japan is deciding to run that one back specifically because those guys are so good and everyone would like to see it one more time.
Yeah, and we'll see if we can get some motivation out of Okada in this one, who's been on paycheck cashing duty for quite a while.
I will tell you, he did the elbow from the top rope, and it looked like a good elbow from the top rope.
It's a challenging spot for the two of them because they have to kind of deliver here, don't they? I mean, if this match is just okay, everyone's going to be talking about how, these guys are done. They're burnt.
Are these guys washed?
Are these washed up?
I have been thinking about this match for a little bit. And
I don't think they're washed up, by the way.
No. I
don't think they're motivated. I don't think they're particularly motivated, but I don't think
they're not inspired that they have to be as magical as the other ones. They're getting paid a lot of money, and their boss really wants them to have like that magical, inspiring match. And if like they're passionate on behalf of their boss, we're gonna have an all-timer.
Yeah.
If they're passionate on behalf of like, you know what, like if they get closer to it, like let's show them all how it's done, and they decide to just pull out all the stops and make this, 33% of a 4-hour show, I'm fine with that. It's like if you want to just take over the last fourth of the show or whatever and just be like an hour of a 4-hour pay-per-view.
No, that's okay. We don't need this to go on out. We don't need no. We don't need this to go an hour.
They are
no
so indulgent with it. They did an Iron Man match with MJF and Bryan Danielson that went past an hour. Like they did another 10 minutes on top of an Iron Man.
Those shows are too long as they are. We don't need an hour in the middle of it. No, thank you.
You never know. But
no, I know.
That's the kind of like mentality that I feel like when you say the pressure is on them and what like Tony might end up having them booked to do and what they're willing to do is like, we might get a 45-minute match. We might get like a match that doesn't end up like, no, this one has to have a winner kind of thing.
Well, they don't pace their shows at all. So, I mean, they might do 45 minutes just because they feel like it. There doesn't seem to be any. Huh?
If this close the show.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you watch Dynamite. I don't. I mean,
but that's the question.
It could be alternative is Moxley and Page, right? Yeah. I mean, I know which match will be good, or Page and Moxley does not feel like a main event. Page doesn't feel like a main eventer to me. It should have been Ospreay. This whole thing of dredging up Adam Page again, to me, doesn't do it for me. So but I'm not a regular AEW viewer, kind of partly because they give me main events like Moxley versus Page. So that of the matches, that's the one I want to watch is Kenny and Okada, just to see if they can pull it out again. Can they get back into fifth gear if they feel like doing so? And I guess that would be my question. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how many people are there in the crowd, and I'm curious to see what kind of match they deliver. But between that and Page versus Moxley, I mean, good grief. But, I'd rather watch that. But yeah, Jeremy Zog is giving his opinion on it as well. So yeah,
he's feisty today.
But and you lost your little bit of audio too. On top of that, lost your microphone. But no, I don't think it's going to be the main event. I think it'll be the match that people probably talk about a lot afterwards, but I don't think it's going to be last. My feeling is they'll probably put Moxley and Page on last because AEW seems to be under a delusion that Adam Page is a main event star. And I've never seen anyone get hurt so much by a bad world title reign as Adam Page was. He was poorly booked. It was poorly executed. Then he spent, I don't know how long doing comedy skits with mid-carders. And it's just, if it were going to happen where this guy's a main event draw, it would have happened by now. It hasn't.
I mean, the interesting thing to me is the parallels to the trying to get it right, his original title run quest. You know, like he had to step away because of the pregnancy with his wife, and it kind of messed up that run, and he stepped away, and then he came back in, and, you know, just kind of the timing was off, the vibe was off, the contenders were off, and then the Punk thing happened, and we all know about that. So there's a part of me that looks at this as kind of like Tony Khan wanted to get it right this time, because if you look at it, there's really no difference to cosmetically that Omega was a shit heel champ that, you know, had a bunch that he was turning away like main event contenders left and right that weren't doing it, and then Page ended up being the guy. And now you have Moxley who's done the same thing, and now Page has ended up being the guy, except, you know, his run isn't interrupted by something in the fact. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, this feels like what he's doing, but he has done it at the cost of Will Ospreay's ascension.
Yeah, makes no sense. Makes no sense.
He made a mistake the first time with ending Page's run, and now he's making a mistake this time with not pulling the trigger on Ospreay's run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ospreay's a better wrestler by miles, and he's right now, I think he's far more over than Page is. So they're going to have.
He feels like the guy.
Yeah, yeah. Instead, they beat him and brought up a guy they're dredging up from 6 years ago. It's just time to move on. Fernando's saying 4 hours of AEW every once in a while is better than 3 hours of SmackDown every single week. A lot of things are better than 3 hours of SmackDown every week.
I'm out on the 3 hours of SmackDown. I'm just flat out. I can't do it.
And the audience seemed to have been out on 4 hours of AEW because, my God, the ratings on that were atrocious. Especially the last 2 hours of that, an absolute atrocity. It's like but I mean, hey, they had to do what they had to do because of the scheduling and all that stuff. But
the NBA Finals rule all.
Oh, well, yeah, that's always going to take a precedent there.
And then,
Hangman is Mr. AEW. That's not a good thing, Fernando. It's not a good thing.
I'm a huge fan of Hangman, and this is where Steven and I differ.
Not a good thing.
I still love Stephen Conway, even though he can be wrong about so many things.
Oh yeah, because the Adam Page's career arc. That's what you want, boy. That's a good one.
Living and dying by the Hangman.
Hundreds and hundreds of paid attendance every single week for Hangman Page.
He definitely got big time by Punk, but I hold.
But Punk was the star.
Punk is the
Come
guy.
on.
I get it.
Yeah. Punk's clearly a better star.
Okay, so what I'm saying here is that when Hangman Page lost the title,
why are we talking about this?
I don't know. I just want to get somebody some clarity before we get on to Dominion, because we got into AEW because of the Omega Okada thing, and then here we go. So real quick,
I don't know how we got
it. Was the CM Punk versus Hangman Page match that happened in Vegas. What should have happened is that Hangman Page wins that match. CM Punk ends up winning a tournament or whatever where he could win the title and run it back in Chicago, where they were in that September. Instead, Punk won, then got injured, and then we had the aborted summer of Punk, and just a bad time.
Well, Fernando's saying Kenny versus Okada should main event. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll probably, again, if they decide to go into fifth gear and have their match, it will clearly be the best thing on the show. But, I don't anticipate them putting it on last.
I think it's second from the top, probably.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.